Hello. Welcome to Men's Fellowship Adventures. My name is Joseph. Hi. Glad to have you on this broadcast today. In times past, we were talking about how God created you in his image. In Genesis 1:26, it shows you that God made man in his image. And if you understand who God is a spirit. So now you're a spirit being. You have infinite ability to do things. Oh, that's a little bit too fast for you? All right. Then he created a body for you from the dust of the earth. And then he breathed into your nostrils the breath of life. And you became a human being. You had a soul, which is your mind, your will, and your emotions. Now, with your mind, your will, and your emotions, you have the ability to create. You can create anything that you want in this world. All you have to do is think about what it is that you want, then start dreaming about it, looking at the images that you see in your imagination. And when you see something you like, you put your emotions to it, you exercise your willpower, and bingo, it's manifested. So we have that ability to manifest things in our life. Just to let you know, it's not set up for you to do evil. So if you do evil, it backfires. Trust and believe that. It will backfire. We're in the time of Lent, and Lent is a time of consecration and, setting aside some time to fellowship with God, to hear his voice, to pray, to fast so that you can hear him, and to give. And some people, you know, they get into a period where they're praying and they're fasting and they're believing that God is going to answer them about something that they prayed for, but they're afraid to walk out on faith. Well, let's talk about a couple of things here. We have the ability to create. And looking at this world today, all you see is runaway people. Some of these folks have the ability to create, and they're taking it to a whole nother selfish level. Jealousy caused Joseph's brothers to sell him into slavery all over the coat of many colors that their father gave him because he favored Joseph. Or was it because of the dreams that Joseph had of his brothers bowing down to them? I think that pushed them over the link or the bridge so that they had to take matters in their own hands. And they sold Joseph to slaves, but not before they devised the plot to tell their father that a wild animal came and ate him, and they took his coat and they put blood over it just so that they can, convince their father that he's dead by the hands of an animal. But at the end of that story between Joseph and his brothers, well, if you don't know, Joseph he had to go through jail, which is crazy. While he was in jail, he met some of the king's workers, the baker and the taster, and so both of them had dreams. Joseph interpreted those dreams. He always said, "Remember me." Long story short, he was made second in command. Even when he was there, the Pharaoh's wife, Potiphar's wife, tried to have sex with Joseph, and because of his righteousness, he wouldn't. She grabbed his coat, accused him of having sex with her. The king put him back in jail. Anyway, it all goes down to this. At the end of the day, Joseph looked at his brothers after they found out that he was second in command and he was their brother and so on. He looked at their brothers and he said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so that I would save the lives of many people." And that's how God works. You could be going about your regular everyday life, And all of a sudden, it could be your family, it could be your friends, it could be your coworkers. Someone's always hating on you and throwing obstacles at you, to try to take you off your path. Well, don't let them, because when that happens, you just got to know that you're doing the right thing. I mean, there's a lot of things that are put in your way to discourage you. And if you listen to it, then you quit and then you lose. But if you just get past that, get over the obstacle or through it, you'll find out that at the end, you win. In Exodus, God told Abram, get out of your country and from your family and from your father's house to a land that I will show you, and I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. Wow. So, those kind of messages, they come through praying, because when you're praying, you shut off everything around you just to hear the voice of the Lord your God. And so when he told Abram that, Abram left. He did. What about you? What has God told you to do? Well, faith comes when you take that step toward that vision and do what God tells you to do. It ain't going to happen all at once, but it's God who opens up the door of opportunity. And when you step through the threshold, it begins to manifest for you. And you just keep walking toward it and keep stepping toward it. Keep doing something every day to bring you toward that place where you saw in your imagination. And before you know it, it's manifested. And then you can look back and say, praise the Lord my God. Look what he's done for me. Do you have a testimony? The thing with Abram was that he took his cousin Lot with him, and somewhere down the road, it was a bunch of land, and Abram said to his cousin, hey, you choose. Whichever way you go, I'll go the opposite way. If you want this, I'll take that, vice versa. So Lot took that place, and before long, they multiplied with all the cattle and people and so on and so forth, and the land was just too big for the both of them. So Lot's workers started fighting with Abram's workers, and they probably was fighting over, my boss is better. We got better stuff. Prideful stuff. That's always in a way. But the interesting thing was that when that happened, Abram just separated from them. Lot went this way again. He went to the town of Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, when we read the Bible, we think, well, God did tell Abraham to go by himself, and Lot wasn't supposed to go, right? But God used that disobedience to destroy the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, it got so bad in Sodom and Gomorrah that when God sent the angels to come and rescue Lot and his family, they had to hide in somebody's house because the people of the village was trying to kill them. All right? So the people was banging on the door. Give him to us! Give him to us! And they were really talking about the angels. So the man whose house it was, he was like, leave these men alone. They're my visitors. Take my daughters instead. And the man was like, we don't want your daughters. Give us the men so we can have sexual relations with them. Sodom and Gomorrah. So, eventually, the angels saved Lot and his wife. They told him not to look back. His wife looked back. She turned into a pillar of salt, and so on, so on. It's just people in this world. I mean, if you're not trying to rule the world with the ability that God gave you to create, you try to force your way on people to suppress them because they don't believe like you do. And that's wrong. I mean, look at Pinky and the Brain. All they did was try to rule the world, and it backfired because they're ill intent. The intended purpose for you to walk in the authority that God has given you, your ability to create, and make things happen. The intended purpose of that is so that you can seek and save those who are lost. There are a lot of people out here that are just so negative. I got bad luck. Ain't nothing never good happen for me. That's not the way to think. You're using faith in reverse. I mean, you never heard God talk like that. When he said "light be," he said, "Well, wait a minute. Maybe you're doing. Can you do it? No. Whew, shake that off." Jesus did it. He went about to seek and to save those who lost. So, with sin starts to corrode your body. Then all of a sudden you're ill, and then all of a sudden all kind of things happen when you're doing the wrong thing. I mean, I'm not saying sin is the only reason why you may have cancer or whatever it may be. I mean, because, God had cursed people to the fourth generation. So there's a lot of things in the Bible that explains life and why the birds die and the fish swim, so on and so forth. And you just got to get into prayer and, understanding of what God intended and seeing how it looks before you can understand it. But your lane is just to pray, to reach out to God and see how he could use you today to touch someone's life. And when you touch someone's life, it changes them. And now they're seeking God for themselves. And God can pour into them that spiritual wisdom that they need to win. Not like we're running a track meet or anything, but to enjoy life. Riches and wealth is my gift from God, to enjoy life and have it to the fullest. Life is about it. If you're not enjoying life, you're doing the wrong things. Okay. Lent is a beautiful thing. Please spend some time with God today. Pray for me. Pray for your folks and people that you love. Pray for those in authority, that they will not go after the lust of their own flesh or pride or, eyes, or that they will learn how to control their desires so that they too can seek and save the lost. And it makes you feel better when you do. Well, this is my time, and I thank you for joining me today. God bless you, and until tomorrow, praise the Lord.